Hey guys, from JStow TCG with another deck tech for you guys. So the deck list and the bonus footage will be in the description, and also we'll go over the deck list at near the end of the video. I did hurt my thumb, so I wasn't able to get as much footage as I wanted to show off the fun stuff. But let's get right into what you can do with this awesome deck. So this deck basically it consists of the full mono black mana base with the Karn Wishboard for artifacts, ton of artifact mana rocks, and Chromatic Lantern, of course, to get access to all your mana. Then there's also Cabal Stronghold, so you can get a ton of ton of swamps, and get extra mana from that. And then the Wishboard comprises of any really OP crazy artifact cards. I also have another card that allows me to get cards from my side deck that aren't artifacts. I kind of added that in because it seems like a lot of people just do the Karn route. So I was able to get cards like, as you can see right here, even a Bolus. And you can get so much mana from Cabal Stronghold that right here we do a 30 Torment of Hailfire, which is just absolutely insane. And then in the bonus video that I have, I'm not going to spoil it, but we're able to get some pretty good stuff by playing Nicol Bolas. And then what's fun about this deck is if you don't like my exact version, you can throw pretty much whatever you want in the sideboard so you have access to any mana in the game pretty much. Alright, so let's go over what the deck consists of. So the first card we have is Cling to Dust. It's a repeatable card which has escape, so as long as you have 5 other cards in your graveyard, you can exile them and keep doing it over and over again. I usually do this just to draw cards, and remember, you can do this on your own graveyard. So a lot of times some people don't even play creatures when you need life or something like that, so feel free to exile your own graveyard if you need to draw, etc. Four Thoughtseize is self-explanatory, basically kills a lot of decks, sometimes it just wins you the game outright, depending if they brick. 3 Mind Stone. I wanted to do 4, but I was kind of running out of room. What do you call it? It's a 2 mana rock, and since you're playing a lot of colorless spells, it's just a great ramp. 1 Traumatic Compass. This one's pretty funny because you're basically running almost all basic lands, so you can keep searching them. And then if you have 7 lands, you just ramp into another land, free land that actually removes creatures from combat. I mean, what's not to love since you're already playing artifacts anyway. 1 Bantu's Last Reckoning. A lot of time, the opponent needs to spend a lot of resources to play out the game. So the lands are not untapping during your untap step is not a huge deal. And then since you're playing some mana rocks, you don't actually, you don't completely run out of mana. But this has saved me a lot of games because a lot of the board wipes don't hit all the creatures you need to or aren't fast enough. 1 Cry of the Cranium. This is for any aggro decks. 2 Grim Tutors. You want to be searching for any cards you need in any situation. And losing 3 life for 3 mana just to pick whatever you want is not a big deal. 4 Chromatic Lantern, it's called Chromatic Black for a reason. 2 Mastermind's Acquisition. I kind of wanted to go more, but I think 2 is enough. This is the one that allows you to go outside the game for any card. So that's why I added it, but a lot of people don't run this. I mean, this card is really fun. And then you can also search your own library if you want to without taking damage like Grim Tutor. 2 Hedron Archives, it's a mana rock. And then later on in the game, you can sacrifice it and draw 2 cards, which is definitely needed. 3 Karns. I was running 4 Karns, but I think 4 Karns was a bit much for the amount of artifacts I had on my sideboard. Basically, you minus this every time. Do not use the +1, because that means your artifact will become killable by creatures and creature kill spells, etc. You can use the +1, but do not make the artifact a creature. Unless you're playing against aggro and you just want to have a blocker, then it's okay, but just don't use the +1. 3 Solemn Circumambulance. I can't even say this right. But basically, this card ramps almost like a mono green deck, and it draws a card when it dies. You could run 4 if you have 4. 2 Golos. This is really easy to use. I mean, even if you don't get the ability off, the first ability allows you to search for any land, and usually you want to search for either Castle Lachrain if you're not drawing the right cards, Cascading Cataracts, or Cabal Stronghold to get all that juicy mana. Ugin the Ineffable, I run 2 of these. It reduces half your deck cost by 2. It's a must-have pretty much. Allows you to get out big Ugin the Spirit Dragon even quicker. This card's very important. Erebos Intervention. This card saves lives, man. Especially against mono red aggro and other crazy aggro decks. So, and then even against Oro, you can exile cards from your opponent's graveyard when they put the Oro in the graveyard, so this card is really, really good. I would actually run 4. I just don't know what I want to take out for that. So I'm actually thinking about running 4 of these, because a lot of time I just die to like combat damage, not anything too crazy. 1 Torment of Hellfire, this is just the end of the game if the opponent has low resources. Then we run 2 Cave Stronghold, which adds swamp for each basic swamp you control. So you need at least 5 basic swamps for this to be worth it on the field, but I mean eventually it gets to that point. 3 Castle Lodgewing for the draw ability. We have 15 swamps, 1 blast zone. You could actually drop maybe a Castle Lodgewing for another blast zone if you have trouble destroying stuff. Card's awesome. Same thing with Cascading Cataracts. This is just in case you lose your Chromatic Lanterns. You can't technically lose your Cascading Cataracts because it's indestructible. And it allows you, once you have 5 different manas on the board, you're able to add 5 mana in any combination of colors. So you won't even need Chromatic Lantern if you have that on the field. And then 2 Fabled Passages in the deck and get swamps. Now sideboard, technically you can make the sideboard whatever you want. But this is what I've been going with. So 1 Ashiok, this gets rid of all the graveyard decks, of course. 1 Cultist, this is against any decks that I need a lot of life for and exile on the way. Chaos Wand. Oh man, Chaos Wand. It's so much fun, man. Being able to use this during your opponent's turn to counter their own spells and stuff is just... 1 Spark Hunter Master Core to deal with Planeswalkers. 1 Ravnica at War. Since you're not playing any multicolored spells, really, unless you grab one for your wish board, you basically exile, like, half your opponent's field, depending on what deck they're playing. It's pretty funny to watch. 1 Leyline in the Void. I think I'm going to drop this, because I already have multiple exiles, so I guess ignore Leyline in the Void, but of course you can add it if you want. 1 Helm of the Host. You can attach that to Meteor Golem. You can attach that to Solemn and get, like, 2 lands a turn. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with that. Going back to this. 1 Elspeth Conqueror's Death, in case you have to exile something big. 1 Scarab God, if you're not really exiling a graveyard and you want to steal stuff, why not? Why not Scarab God? Nicol Bolas, because he's Nicol... Oh, no, this is not the right one, but 1 Nicol Bolas, because he's Nicol Bolas. The +1 ability is pretty fun exiling permanents. Thought Distortion. This is what wrecks everybody, man. Like, if you go against a creature... if you go against a big, fairy deck, this just wrecks, and this is one of my favorite cards, and it can't be countered. 1 Bolas Godfrey for the lulz, because you can just +2 and steal cards at the top of the deck. 1 Gentleman's Ultimatum to place a ton. 1 Eerie Ultimatum to return stuff from your graveyard, and 1 Meteor Golem to destroy stuff. So you'll be getting a lot of big mana. The deck's a ton of fun. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to try out the deck. But remember, this does cost a lot of wild cards. So unless you're like, if you're hurting for wild cards, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you just want something super fun and OP, this is the deck for you. Feel free to subscribe for more Magic the Gathering gameplay and deck techs, and I'll see you guys next time.